Hi, April. So these live things on Instagram, hopefully everybody can hear me. I have these AirPods in. To me are kind of like head up your own butt sort of thing. So I've avoided doing them. But if they are something that people are interested in doing, I'm going to do them once a week on a Friday, most likely. And we'll just do a little April, happy belated birthday. We'll just do a little topic every time that we do it. And this topic is going to be about, guess what? Yoga. Surprise, surprise. And some reasons why we should do yoga. You know, not to pressure anybody. And whether you're, doing yoga with me or not, or somewhere else, or with somebody else, maybe somewhere across the world, I would just wanted to talk about some reasons why yoga is good for us to do and what yoga is. So let me know if you have any questions or comments or things that you wanted to share yourself. Basically, in my opinion, doing yoga is a very personal thing. Everybody that you talk to about doing yoga, yeah, right, April. Yeah, right. Everybody that you talk about their practice, talk to them about their practice, they have a story. A lot of people have a story what brought them to yoga, why they started yoga. Some people do it because, their doctors have told them, they're at a certain time in their life where they're like, you should really be doing yoga, which is, by the way, is such an awesome thing to hear that doctors are actually promoting practicing yoga. That's amazing. Because it just shows where we're at in the world, with that. And this alternative form of healing and medicine is something that's being promoted by mainstream practitioners, which is so great. We live in such a great time for that to be happening. So that's, some people start because of that. Some people start, because maybe they're younger and they have a history in moving their body with gymnastics or things like that. And it just seems like the most natural thing, the most natural progression from there to move into a yoga practice. There's a lot of ego attached to it. We see that all over Instagram, all over social media with all these pictures and, people doing stuff, just stuff. I'm just going to call it stuff. And it's sort of like, look at me syndrome, all of social media is, which again, this is why, for me, it feels kind of funny doing this live thing because I don't like that. I feel very uncomfortable with it. And genuinely would just like to promote yoga and say, this is maybe why you should think about doing it. So I wrote down some notes. Get excited. What is yoga? What the heck is yoga? What is it? Here's my answer. Now, the answer to that question could go on and on and on, okay? Like I said, it's a very personal thing for each person, why they came into the practice of yoga. Yoga is thousands of years old, and my understanding of it is that it started thousands of years ago in India with primarily men, young men, teenagers, that kind of thing. So a lot of the poses that we traditionally do now are very geared towards that younger body, and then you see them, if you look at old pictures of yoga with young men doing yoga, they're very flexible, very, very bendy. And then what is great about that is that they started young and then they carried that flexibility into their adult life and were able to continue that. So really great benefits for their adult life, because we all age, and the more flexible and strong we are, the better. So thousands of years old, and primarily, was in India, in the Eastern cultures, and then became this Western thing as well. Traditionally, in those days, you didn't pay for yoga. It was a very spiritually based thing where you get together with groups of people, and it's a spiritual practice. And for many people, it still is. And for me, it is. For a lot of people, it's purely a physical thing, and it's become a westernized form of exercise, which is fine. I think whatever gets you to do it, gets you to do it. Because ultimately the benefits of it are going to far outweigh the reasons why you might have come into it. So this is this beautiful history of this spiritual, some people ask, is yoga a religion? The answer really is no. It's more of a spirituality if that's what you decide to make it for you. But like I said, some people it's purely physical. Some people it's purely meditational. But either way, we want to try and do it so that we achieve the benefits of health for the body, mind. And one thing that's good to remember is that those are connected, right? The body, mind, they're connected. So for example, you're born into this world as a human being, right? I think. Are you human? I don't know. And this mind, right? We have this crazy mind sometimes. It came with your body. So body, mind. So whatever gets you to calm the body, mind is going to ultimately benefit your health, your overall health, while you live in this body, mind. All right, so that's kind of the history of yoga, kind of. And it's a great thing, but we're going to go over some reasons why maybe you want to think about either starting a practice or continuing your practice. And I know, some of you watching already have a yoga practice, so feel free to comment and tell me why you started yoga and why you continue to do yoga. Body awareness. This is a great thing to think about. How many of us grow up and we have no idea about our own bodies, right? So you go to the doctor and they say, what's wrong? And you say, I don't know. Well, where are you feeling uncomfortable? What's causing you pain or discomfort? I don't know. I'm not sure. So practicing yoga is going to help you have more of a body awareness so that when you have issues going on in your body, you're more in control. Oh, okay, it's probably this, or it's probably that, or maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Not to self-diagnose ourselves, but to at least have some body awareness so that when we do go to a professional, if we have to, we can say, look, I think it's attached to this or that. Some people that I know don't even really have the awareness of where their hamstrings are or their quadriceps are. So it's such a great thing to learn these things about the body and have that awareness. Internal organs, what goes on with your internal organs when you move your body, when you breathe. There's so many benefits just in that alone. Oxygen. Yoga helps to increase your capacity to breathe more deeply. What happens when we oxygenate the body, right? We bring oxygen deeper in and it oxygenates the blood, right? So then the oxygen is going through the bloodstream and feeding the body oxygen. So it's amazing. It's an amazing thing. So when we take yoga and we learn how to breathe more deeply, right? And we learn how to use our posture to sit us up better, right? To use those muscles to sit us up better, and then to be able to inhale deeply, right? And we learn that 3-part breath, the Dirga breath, if those of you know what I'm talking about. So the belly, the ribs, and then the chest, right? So we inhale from the bottom up all the way up to the collarbones. So we're teaching the body how to breathe in order to get more oxygen into the body, but also, something to remember here, to also teach the body how to get the carbon dioxide out, right? So we're feeling tired, we're feeling lethargic, we're feeling hungry when we've just eaten. You know, all these things, all these messages that the body is telling us that might not be accurate simply because we are not feeding it enough oxygen. I know it sounds silly, but it's true. So when you fulfill the body with that oxygen and then you let go of that carbon dioxide, right? So we use the diaphragm and we teach, it's like you're teaching the body how to do these things that when you're born, obviously you know how to breathe, right? But we have to teach ourselves how to use these muscles properly to enhance the breathing and to bring more oxygen in and to teach the body to get rid of that carbon dioxide. So when we inhale, I teach my classes, my students, and I tell them, pretend your torso from your collarbones all the way down, okay? All the way down to like your pelvic area, so your hips. Pretend that whole area is a big balloon, okay? And when we inhale, we want to pretend we're trying to pop that balloon. Don't go too far with that thinking, okay? Because I don't want you to like go somewhere gross. But we want to inhale, pretend that we're going to pop this balloon. So that's how much breath we're taking into the body, right? And you can even, when you inhale and get to the top of the breath, you can even hold it. And then when you exhale, breathe so much breath out of the body that you feel completely empty and you're squeezing in, right? And you can even hold that breath out. So those final last little squeezes at the very bottom, you're just pushing it out and maybe even holding it out there, right? So you get this sensation of what is it like to not have breath in my body, oxygen in my body, right? And then we inhale and it's an amazing feeling, like, oh, right? There's almost an immediate reaction of a deeper relaxation in the body, which is amazing. And that's another part of yoga. So we want to increase our capacity for oxygen to come in, feed the bloodstream, go throughout the body. And let me explain a little bit more about what's happening when we do breathe, besides what we just said. And don't mind my hands, I'm like talking with my hands a lot. So the diaphragm, okay? And you can definitely find some photographs of this on the internet of what the diaphragm looks like in the body. The diaphragm works with the lungs, okay? And when we inhale, we teach in yoga to push the belly out, all right? So when we push the belly out, this Buddha belly we call it, or a balloon belly, whatever you want to call that, when we push the belly out, it's teaching the diaphragm to pull down, okay? So we want the diaphragm to pull down, and then the lungs are able to expand more, okay? We're lengthening and we're opening up the lungs. And then when we exhale, the diaphragm actually pushes up into the rib cage, pushing up into the lungs and pushing the breath out of the body. So the more we practice that, the more you're using the muscles and the organs that are supposed to be used in order to help us to breathe better. Does that make sense? I hope so. So that's another reason to start practicing yoga or to continue your yoga practice. We have these intercostal muscles on the sides of the ribs here. So when we inhale, we teach the body to really expand the ribs out and open. We're stretching those muscles on the sides in between the ribs, which again is going to help give space for our lungs to expand, help us to breathe better. It's an amazing thing. Okay, let's see what's else here. What other notes I have? When we bring ourselves back into living like a human being, okay, so this is present day living. Yoga is going to help teach us that we are no longer cavemen. We no longer have to worry about these lions and tigers and bears, oh my, running after us and trying to capture us for their dinner. Okay, you get what I'm saying here, right? So that is something that's a response that we elicit as humans, very primitive human stage, the fight or flight syndrome, which, yes, are we going to need that sometimes? Yes. Do we need it all the time? Absolutely not, right? But because it's such a primitive thing, just being human, we do this. And unfortunately, that pumps the adrenaline, it gets us fired up, right? And it's all these other responses are happening in the body that don't make sense for the present moment. What you're going through, what's actually happening in your life. So like I said, yes, sometimes we need that fight or flight to kick in, okay? But for the most part, we don't. So yoga is going to help us to elicit the more relaxed response to living our daily lives. There is no bear running after you. There is no tiger. There's no big woolly mammoth. Taking a moment, breathing deeply, and allowing the autonomic nervous system to take a chill pill, okay? So, yoga teaches us to enhance is kind of the wrong word. Encourage is what I'm looking for. The parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, so that's the nervous system that we want to encourage in order to teach the body that it's okay. It can relax. It doesn't have to run or scream or be afraid. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, so that's your nervous system. Things like in yoga practice, when you're practicing restorative yoga, shavasana at the end of a yoga class where you're just relaxing, you're teaching the body to relax and breathe. I hope this all makes sense to everybody. Let me know. You can write comments, questions, etc. Just a couple more topics here, points here. So when we practice yoga, we're also teaching the mind. So the mind, I don't know about you guys, but living a daily life in this world, the mind tends to go for a run. And a little bit crazy. Can we say a little bit crazy? And if we allow it to, it will be like a hamster on a wheel, right? It'll just keep running. So yoga is going to help us to avoid that way of being. And when we allow the mind to just focus, what's happening with that, right? If I inhale and I say to myself, I am aware that I'm breathing in. If I exhale and I say, I'm aware that I'm breathing out, right? If I'm sitting here and I say, I'm aware that I'm sitting here, right? Every little moment, every little thing that we do can become an awareness, which helps us to come back into a calmer place for the mind. Now, what happens when we calm the mind? what happens? The mind gives the body messages, right? So now the body is saying, okay, I can be calm. I can be relaxed. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. So when we breathe in and we breathe out and we stay in the moment and we allow the mind to be calm and relaxed, it's going to give the body messages to also be calm and relaxed. It's a beautiful thing. So these are just some tips on why you might want to start yoga if you're not doing it yet, or continue your practice. I'm going to have these discussions every Friday around 12:30, 12:45. And if there's a topic that you want to discuss, please let me know. You can go to the links under my profile there and click and see what we have going on. A lot of stuff. So just to go over it again, for those of you who missed it, there's some tips and suggestions why you might want to start a yoga practice. You can watch this video back again and check it out. But just to very quickly reiterate, body awareness, breath awareness, increased oxygen capacity into the body, helping to encourage the parasympathetic nervous system, right, to help us relax and come into a place of healing for this body. And then mind, right? Focusing the mind to teach it to relax. We don't necessarily want to stop the thoughts from happening. We just want to teach the mind that it can relax. So we focus on something like the breath or like a mantra, or we meditate, right? We can listen to a guided meditation that can help us get there. All those things are helping us to be the healthiest that we can be in this vehicle that we've been given in this life, to help us carry us through a little bit farther and happier, so that we're not in pain or in discomfort as we move through this life. I hope you all enjoyed this today. Let me know if you have any comments or questions. And if there's anything that you want to talk about, I'll add it to my topic list, and we'll do this on Fridays. Have a great day. Thanks.